AITA, for not canceling my graduation trip to babysit my sister's kids. I 23F, graduated from college last week, finally. After 4 years of stress, sleepless nights, part-time jobs, endless papers, group projects where I carried most of the weight, and sacrificing a lot of my social life just to make it through, I walked across that stage and felt like I could finally breathe again. To celebrate, my friends and I planned a road trip along the coast. It's something we've been talking about since sophomore year. Nothing fancy or wild, just a laid-back 4-day trip staying in cheap Airbnbs, eating great food, taking a ton of pictures, and just being together before life pulls us in different directions. Some of us are moving away, others starting full-time jobs soon. This felt like our last real hurrah before adulthood really sets in. Everyone pitched in. We've been budgeting and saving for months, and I've been counting down the days. I even bought a new journal and disposable camera for the trip. It might sound cheesy, but I wanted to remember it all. Anyway, 2 days before we're supposed to leave, I get this frantic call from my older sister, 32F. She has 3 kids, all under 7, and apparently her babysitter canceled last minute. She and her husband had planned a weekend getaway for their anniversary. Hotel, dinner reservations, massages, the whole thing. And suddenly she has no one to watch the kids. She was stressed, I get that, and she asked me to cancel my trip and babysit instead. I paused, trying to be gentle, and said I was really sorry, but I couldn't. I'd already paid for my share of the trip, and it wasn't something I could just back out of without disappointing a bunch of people. I told her I'd been looking forward to this for months, and honestly, I felt like I needed it after everything. It wasn't even just about fun. It was about closure, about celebrating something I worked really hard for. She didn't take it well. She got really upset and said I was being selfish and immature, and that I don't have anything serious going on right now anyway, which, ouch. She also claimed she never asks me for help, which isn't really true. She calls on me fairly often when she needs an extra set of hands. I love my nieces and nephew, I do, and I help when I can. But this time I said no. Then my mom got involved. She called me later that evening and said she wasn't trying to pressure me, but also that family comes first, and that the trip could wait. She said it would be a nice thing to do for my sister, that I'd be helping keep their marriage strong by making this weekend happen for them, and that sacrifices are just part of adulthood. At that point, I started to feel genuinely guilty. I don't want to be the selfish younger sister. I don't want to be the flaky aunt. But also, I don't think it's fair to constantly be expected to put my life on hold whenever someone else has an emergency, especially when I planned ahead and followed through. I've spent so much of my life being the dependable one, especially in my family. I don't cause drama. I show up to birthday parties, help set up baby showers, offer rides, take last-minute calls to talk through life problems. But this was one of the first times I drew a line, and apparently that made me the bad guy. I went on the trip, and it was amazing. It wasn't glamorous, but it felt like reclaiming something I'd forgotten I was allowed to have: fun, freedom, rest. Still, when I got back, the vibe with my family was cold. My sister hasn't really spoken to me, and my mom keeps bringing it up in passive-aggressive ways. Hope you got all the me time you needed, stuff like that. So now I'm wondering, AITA for putting myself first just this once. Should I have sacrificed my trip so my sister could have hers?